Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions.
First year and second year agents. The cool part now, 3 years later, those second year agents are now in their fourth year. A lot of them are still on the team. We got those first year agents are 3 year agents. So instead of only having a couple of us that can run around and ask questions, now we have these 4 and 3 year agents that are now bringing in new agents that they've met, and they're training them and mentoring them and teaching them like what they've done. So it's been cool to kind of watch these brand new agents go from a first year to a second year to a third year. Now they're moving into their fourth year. One of them is our marketing director, but they're out helping other people and helping them get better compared to just maybe 3-4 years ago we're just figuring out like real estate. So that part's been fun, and thankfully we've had very loyal people on our team. A lot of the good ones have stayed. We've been able to get rid of the drama people as quickly as possible, and so we have a really cool team. Again, we're up to like 40 agents, and things are going really, really good. It's been fun.
A couple of quick questions. Growing up, who was the most influential person to you growing up?
Influential to me was probably my dad.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of put his career on hold to coach me.
What did he do?
Always owned his own business. What was that?
What did he do?
He did sheet metal, and then he owned his own restaurant, and then he went back into sheet metal. He went to be a teacher for a couple hours, and then now he owns a restaurant again. But he was always an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Made sure that he was able to be there to coach us and do all of that. That was important to me. Everyone in my family owns their own business. Okay. I was the only one that went corporate America. I was like, forget that. That's way too much work. And the restaurant business sucks. I had way too many weekends ruined in my childhood because we had to go to the restaurant because some bonehead called in sick. So I'm like, I'm not doing that. And then, he coached forever. He's the head football coach at El Cap. I think he's on his 25th or 26th season. Wow. He's one of only like 25 coaches to win 100 wins in San Diego at the same school. And so he really got me into like sports and coaching and being an entrepreneur. It took me much longer to get there than it did him because I was scared to go the commission only and own my own business. But I definitely kind of followed in his footsteps to want to coach and own my own business. And part of why I want to own my own business is that I can coach my kids. I coached my kid up until he was 10 years old in baseball. Last year, I didn't coach him in baseball, and I went and coached my daughter in 8-year-old softball. Which, if you haven't done that, try that. If you want to test your patience, just make sure you're really good at tying shoes. Because I spent my time tying kids' shoes. Be ready for crying. But I went and coached my daughter's team last year. I'm not sure which one I'm going to coach this year, but I spend football season coaching the high school kids, and then I've either coached my son or my daughter every year. And the cool thing about our business is, my daughter got like Citizen of the Month recently. I didn't have to ask anybody to be off. I didn't have to worry about it. It's just you put it in your calendar and say, hey, and like I take my daughter to school every Wednesday. So I don't have to ask anybody for that. We don't have to, figure that out. It's just, hey, like I work for myself and this is what's important to me and I'm going to go do it.
Yeah. And that's the best part. That's the best part is you get to spend quality time with them, right? That was the best part for me. When my kids were growing up, I was at everything. I was that dad, right? I was at the basketball games. I was at the football games. I didn't coach them. I mean, I coached Michael, just he and I, but I didn't, I was the announcer for the last 11 seasons. I've been the announcer for the football team for their high school. And so I've loved every minute of it. I love football anyway, but it's a lot of fun to watch these kids do their thing. And
I think that there's the trade-off, right? Because like I got into real estate for work-life balance, and then I found myself working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
But I can work at my own pace, right? And my kids have seen me pacing on a patio a million times. They've seen me in the hotel, trying to negotiate. I don't know how many times they've heard shh in the back of the car because I have a call coming in from a client that I got to take.
Right.
But I'm able to be there for their stuff, and I don't have to miss, too much of their stuff for work events. So there's the good and the bad. And I think my 6 and 11-year-old could probably quote you like what the rates are today, because they have to hear the morning update every day on rates that I get, and could probably tell you like way too much about real estate that a kid shouldn't know, because they hear a lot of my conversations in the car. But I'm able to be there for their stuff, pick them up, take them to stuff if I need to. So I'm very lucky in that respect.
So my kids are 23 and 25.
Okay.
And they're starting to figure out that they learned a ton in our house. They learned a ton driving in the car with me, in the truck, right? They learned a ton because they're now talking to people that they meet, and they're now talking to people that are friends of theirs and that kind of thing. And they don't know anything about credit. They don't know anything about finance. They don't know anything about real estate. They don't know anything about these things, right? So my daughter has a boyfriend that knows nothing. He wanted to buy a truck, got his first 2 car loans declined. And she's like, you need to talk to my dad. I can't help you anymore. I spent an hour and 32 minutes on the phone with this kid. Okay. And he knew nothing, absolutely nothing. It's amazing how much they're absorbing. And I thought that there would be no way they would ever get into real estate. My son wants to come invest in real estate with me, and my daughter just came to work with me last month.
That's awesome.
And I thought there'd be no way that would ever happen, Ron. You could have knocked me over with a feather when I found out they were even interested in doing it, because as they were growing up, we were running that Keller Williams office for 18 years, right? If the stuff hit the fan, it ended up on my plate. Right. They heard the not so positive side of real estate for a very, very long time.
For sure.
Man, do they know their stuff.
That's awesome.
It's cool. It's really cool. Your kids are getting an education by osmosis, and it's a very cool thing. I promise you.
Yeah, it's funny that like my daughter asked me the other day when I said rates are down, and she's like, what does that mean? So like on the way to school, I'm explaining to her, how interest rates, and she's 6, but basically was, walking her through that since interest rates are going down, people have to pay less per month for their house. And she's like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, it's very cool. If we can keep that going, it'd be really cool.
Yeah, we want to keep that going for sure. Right. That's really cool, man. So we're up to today. We're up to where you are now. And I'm, like I told you, I'm super proud of you on the weight loss side. And I want you to keep that going. And if I can help you, please reach out. Okay.
Okay, I will.
I know that I can, but if I can, I will. So let me ask you this. What's the future look like? What are we working on today that's for the future, for your future?
Man, so work-wise, we figured out our merger. We built like our foundation. Now we're starting to add the agents and kind of figuring that out. I think there's been some learning curve there on time management. For me, I'm still an active agent, so I still sell houses. Then I have to be the CEO of a company to figure out, the kind of, CEO stuff. And then there's the team leader stuff, and then like the team leader meetings and stuff like that. So I think managing through that has been tough for me, because sometimes you're like, what do I go work on? Or today, should I be prospecting for agents? Or should I be prospecting for listings? Because if I get a listing,
I go right or left, right?
Right. Like if I make some calls today and get a listing, I'm going to get paid in 30 days. If I call 10 agents and get one of them to sign up, I got to hope that one of them comes in, does the training, and does all of that. Right. So sometimes it's hard, especially, in this market, it's got a little bit tougher is, where do you spend your time? Right. And so we haven't really met to do our goals for next year. I purposefully don't like to do goal setting at this time. And the reason being is I think all the people that are struggling and the brokerages that are struggling are looking at everyone going, we've had a shitty year. There's nothing good to say. So let's talk about next year. Yeah. And let's do that in November. And I think what that does is it takes the agents take their pedal off the gas, and they go, hey, it's time to plan for next year. Next year's going to be better. And I think there's one holiday that's bad for us is New Year's. I think it creates fake optimism of next year's going to be the year. Next year's going to be different. But if you do everything the same this year, next year's going to be the same thing with a different year on it, right? Yeah, but I think people just have this amazing thought that like next year's going to be my year. And so what we've said as our team is we're running an agent accelerator course talking about the things people should be doing and the activities we're doing. We're doing that now through the end of the year. I think it was an 8-week course we started about 6 weeks ago, but getting people to do all the right activities now so that we start on January 1st killing it. and not spending the next 6 weeks, planning for it and hanging out and building vision boards and all that, where like, I think all that's important. But I think you're seeing brokerages and teams that struggled this year spend all their time on that. Like, come do vision boards with us, because we're not selling houses. So we're going to do vision boards to make everyone not realize how bad this year was. Thankfully, we've had a good year, and it's really taking those agents that have done well, getting them to share kind of what's working for them, bringing in some new agents, getting them on board, and getting us ready for next year. So we haven't made like our plans for next year and stuff like that, but our agent count is going up. Our lead count is going up. So, our goal this year was to do 100 million. That was a crazy goal of us doubling our business in a bad market. We're going to come between, 5 and 6 million short. So even though it will be short to our goal, short to the profit goal as well, I think it's still a really, really successful year and something to be proud of. I just don't know how aggressive we're going to be next year on agent count and or on our sales count, but I know that we're going to look for some crazy growth there. As far as personally, I haven't even had my meeting yet about like coaching football, but I'll be doing something with that. My son's playing travel baseball. It's going to be his 12-year-old baseball year, which, as you know, is a big year for baseball. His team's going to Cooperstown, New York, to the Hall of Fame, and they have some kind of Cooperstown Hall of Fame tournament he's going to be in New York. So that's kind of the big plans for next year. And then, just really trying to make sure I'm spending the time with the kids and trying to get that family vacation in. I know it's a struggle. Every time we go to plan it, something else pops up. And my son plays travel baseball. So on the weekends, if I'm not showing houses working, I'm at some kind of a baseball game or a softball game or something like that. So that's what most of my life is I'm on a field. I love coaching football. I love coaching kids. I had a coach that believed in me and helped me out kind of when I was a struggling teenage kid that maybe could have went in the wrong direction at that time. And so that's kind of my way to give back. I like to spend time with the kids and, help them. So I think it keeps me young too. I know some of the terms that my kids use that us older people wouldn't understand, but I hear them from the high school kids. I'll be doing something with that, spending time with the kids and coaching them up. Either I'll either be coaching baseball or softball or both, and spending my time again selling houses, hanging out with some friends, trying to get a little bit of travel in. And then I also own racehorses. I'm big into horse racing.
Really?
Just bought a horse yesterday. Yeah, my other two just got sold recently. Bought one yesterday. So I like to travel. My daughter absolutely adores horses.
Okay.
And so I've taken a couple of vacations just with her, taking her to Arizona. And she loves to go to Del Mar when the horses are here. I have an owner's pass, so I can go on the backside. I'll take her over there to pet. We'll go pick up carrots and feed the horses. I have a really cool trainer at both locations that'll let him go play with the horses and stuff. So that's my passion outside of work, and that's my vision board, right? If I can make enough money to keep buying horses and having fun and doing that, and it's something that my son doesn't necessarily like as much, but my daughter loves. So it's something her and I can do together as a daddy-daughter event. And we had a blast one time. I took her out to Phoenix, and we went to the track and hung out and took her swimming, and got to spend just 2 days with her. And then my wife and my son went and did their own thing. So that's one of my other passions, and just doing that and having fun and trying to figure out how to sell more houses.
That's cool, dude. I didn't realize you were in horse racing. That's cool.
Yeah, man, I love it. I mean, like, I don't have the money for these big guys, and I'm never going to be running in the Derby, probably, right? I'm running low level claimers.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
But it's fun, and it's such a blast, and people have a bad perception of horse racing. But if you go on the backside and see how these horses are treated and fed, they're bathed every day. They are so fun. Each horse is different. I've always kind of, as a kid, I had a horse, but you look at horses and they all look the same when they're running. But when you meet them, they all have a different personality. Some of them are fun, some are goofy, some are going to try to bite you. So you got to, if you own them or don't own them, you got to, understand kind of who you're talking to. But it's an absolute blast, and it's fun to see the strategy behind it, and what the jockeys are trying to do, what the trainers trying to do, how they're trying to move them up. It's a blast, and definitely fun to do.
That's cool, man. Well, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the future for you. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about before we wrap up?
No, man, I think that's a lot. I just appreciate you for having me on here. And again, it was awesome meeting you the other day. And if I can ever help you out in any way, let me know, Mike.
Hey, buddy, I appreciate you being on. Thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.